Namaskar friends, welcome to Export Import Make in India campaign, and today we will understand practically concept of the FOB shipments. Okay, so we will understand this with example of the import from United States to India. Okay, so we will try to understand. Currently we are here in importers, okay, and we need some car accessories from United States. Okay, so we deal these shipments under the FOB contract. Okay, so when we send to purchase order to the United States exporter, what first step done by the United States? He dispatched the goods to India. Okay, so in this process, first he need to make ready for the goods for the dispatch. Okay, so he need to book the containers from the shipping line. Okay, so in this case he need to appoint the custom clearance agent for his origin custom clearance only. Okay, so here first he need to arrange the United States custom clearance. For that he need to appoint a United States custom house agent for local clearance for the United States. Okay, so here the shipment is FOB, so charge which is occurred to bring the shipment at seaport need to bear by the United States exporter because the shipment is FOB. So all expenses from factory to port of loading will bear by the United States exporter. So what he will do, he will add this cost in his commercial invoice. So payment will become FOB value in invoice. Okay. So now the responsibility of the United States supplier has over and port of loading. We will try to understand here. Just like this is the United States exporter, and he is responsible to bring the goods at this seaport. So all expenses from here to here will bear by the United States exporter. Okay, then he will add in his invoice, and this invoice will be paid by the Indian importer. Okay, so after that, what next step? Okay, so here United States the shipment is reached at the seaport. Okay, now after this port of loading, shipment is FOB, so the freight will bear by the importer. Okay, so here we will arrange the freight forwarder. Okay, so what we will do, he will contact to Indian freight forwarder. Okay, he will contact to Indian freight forwarder and appoint at the United States containers need to book. Okay, sometime United States also book the container, and the freight company is from appointed by the India. Okay, with the example we will try to understand, because that initially level the United States the exporter is only know that what is the volume of the shipment. So as per that volume he booked the container from the shipping line. So at initially the shipment is booked from the US, but the freight will bear by the Indian importer. Okay, so we will try to understand with example. Now what will happen, the shipment is dispatched from the here, then come at the seaport, port of loading. Okay, here is the shipment. Now the shipment is loaded on the ship. Okay, and the shipping line generate, this is here shipping line. The shipping line will generate the bill of lading, and this bill of lading hand over to the supplier. Okay, so in this process the importers we arranged For the custom clearance we are done, but the freight forwarder we arrange from India need to make payment to the shipping line so that he can release the bill of lading. If he will not make payment, then shipping line will not give bill of lading. Okay, so here we need to understand this freight and other expenses of the shipping line, original shipping line, just like Must line, One line, Emirates line. This line we are talking about, this line, and freight forwarder is that this managing this activity behalf of the Indian importer. So this freight forwarder will pay these expenses to shipping line, and shipping line give the bill to the Indian origin freight forwarder. Okay, so now this payment is made to shipping line behalf of importers by the freight forwarder. Okay, so what freight forwarder will do? This invoice, freight forwarder will generate the invoice to the Indian importer for that payment which he made to the shipping line. Okay, so as per payment terms, Indian importer need to make payment to the freight forwarder. After this process, the shipment will move from port of loading to the port of discharge. Okay, here. So shipment will reach here at port of discharge. So again, the expenses of the port of discharge is like a terminal handling charges. This equipment will bring down the container from the ship. So handling charges. So this is called the TSC, terminal handling charges. Okay, so these terminal handling charges plus documentation charges, which called DO charges, and other containers shipping line charges, we need to pay here. Need to pay before taking shipment delivery order from the shipping line. So who will generate the invoice? Shipping line will generate the invoice. To whom? Directly he generate to the importer, but we have appointed the freight forwarder. So who will pay? Freight forwarder will pay. And again he sent to invoice to Indian importer. Okay. Next step is, once the payment is done, shipment will release from the shipping line, and shipment comes under the freight forwarder custody. Okay, now here, if shipment is the CIF at the port of discharge, like in Nhava Sheva, Mundra or Pipavav, then shipping line activities finish here. There is no role here of the shipping line. But in case of the contract is done, we have like a CIF at nearest ICD of the factory. Okay, nearest ICD of the factory. We already book on this contract to the shipping line at this origin side. Okay, so this deal done at the level which is before execute the shipment. We can say at the initial level when we agreed the dealing condition. So we at that time we can intimate to the supplier, when you book the container from the shipping line, our shipment CIF at port of ICD, our nearest ICD of the factory. If you mention these terms in the contract at the booking time, then what will happen? When giving the delivery order by the shipping line also add the expenses from inland charges, expenses from port of discharge to nearest ICD of the importer factory. Okay, for example, this is the ICD. So these train expenses called the ISC, inland haulage charges, also need to pay when shipping line generate the invoice. Okay, so if shipment is CIF 8 nearest ICD of the importer factory, then in such case, the shipping line will issue the invoice to freight forwarder, not only the TSC, okay, not only TSC, but ISC also. ISC with the inland knowledge charges. Then delivery order charges and other expenses, other shipping line expenses. Okay, so this charge need to pay at the time of taking delivery from the shipping line. So shipping line generates the invoice to the agent freight forwarder which appointed by the Indian importer. Okay. Then again, this importer will issue the invoice to the Indian importer. So first we need to make this payment to the freight forwarder. Okay. Now what happen next step? Sometime what will happen? This procedure the simple we understand that shipment delivery, but sometime some freight forwarder not have a capabilities to custom clearance at the Indian port. So again, this freight forwarder will arrange the custom house agent for the custom clearance at the Indian port. Okay. So what we'll do? This is the internal process of the freight forwarder. Okay. So this custom clearance agent will clearance at that ICD. Okay, here. Okay, and generate the invoice of the expenses to the freight forwarder which appointed by us. Then again, this freight forwarder will send invoice and add this expense. So we can understand this process is done in such way that all process CHA, freight forwarder, shipping line, all are integrated and working will be done. Okay. So we also need to understand in this process that this freight forwarder first pay the payment of the freight when containers move from the port of loading. Okay. So either he can send immediately to invoice at that time because this shipment come at port of loading to port of discharge. So it will take some time, like 1 month, 2 months, or 3 months, 1 month or 2 months. So the freight forwarder will not wait for the 2 months. Okay, so he will generate the invoice and send to importer, and importer will make payment to him. Okay. After this, when shipment reach at the port of discharge, again shipping line expenses need to pay which freight forwarder. Okay, and the destination expenses paid by the freight forwarder. So this will added the all expenses and bill to the Indian importer. Okay. So guys, we have tried to understand the practically concept in FOB shipments. So in the next session, we also have a same kind of practical example in CIF shipment. Okay. So we will understand that in next session. Okay, guys. So thanks for watching the session. Have a nice day.